stands for the husband when he comes home, and the husband does the same.
Okay, Kvod Torah means a lot of different things. Kvod Torah means kavod for what it says in the Torah as well, abiding by what the Torah says as well. So a husband needs to honor his wife as much as he has to love his wife as much as he loves himself, and he has to honor her more than he honors himself. He has to give her more respect than he gives himself. And a wife has to respect her husband to such an extent as if he's a king himself. So she has to stand up when he comes in. He has to stand up when she comes in. It's not one-sided, like some people think that the Torah is against women for some strange reason. The Torah is the most pro-women document ever written. So when a husband understands what the Torah says, he has to give his wife the utmost respect, the utmost honor. She comes in, he has to stand up. Why? She's a queen. Same concept when a husband comes in. But if there's no Torah in the house, then such actions just seem purely out of pride. If the guy didn't learn any Torah the whole week, but he still expects his wife to abide by Torah and get up when he comes in, really all he's looking for is honor for no reason. If you have Torah in you, then we'll get up. If you don't have Torah in you, what are we getting up for? For what? What do you have? Why? Because you have money? So what? It's God's money. What do you have? What do you have to offer that we're getting up for? That's what you have to know. The only reason why you get up for a person that he comes in is because you get up for a Sefer Torah. Every time a Sefer Torah comes out of the Aron HaKodesh, we get up. Every time a rabbi comes in, we get up. Why? Sefer Torah, rabbi, supposed to be the same thing. You also supposed to be the same thing. Meaning you learn Torah the whole week. We get up. Because you learn Torah, you're a living Sefer Torah. When I was in New York, I did shiur in Staten Island. Rav Zev is the rabbi in the local synagogue for my parents. Mamash, a living Sefer Torah. Every time I see him, it's just, you get chidushim just by looking at him. And I tell the kehillah, they don't even realize what they have. They honestly, mamash, they don't realize what they have. They have a living Sefer Torah. Most shuls pray to just have a regular Sefer Torah. They have a regular Sefer Torah and a living Sefer Torah, and they don't realize they have either one sometimes. Sometimes we have things that are gifts right in front of us, but we don't realize it. But the point I'm trying to say is that you get up because of the Torah the person has. If the person has no Torah, you don't get up. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of things that the Torah says that are against people that don't have Torah in them. For example, to such an extent, it says that a person that doesn't learn Torah, he shouldn't be allowed to eat meat. Gemara in Masechet Pesachim says that a person doesn't learn Torah, he shouldn't be allowed to eat meat. Why he shouldn't be allowed to eat meat? Because the meat is from a cow. And if he hasn't learned Torah, the cow is better than him. Why should he eat the cow? What's the difference? She's better than him. They talk very, very against people who don't learn Torah. So, you have to, the getting up part, the honor part comes because of Torah you possess. If you possess Torah, shrecha. Next question. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Question. Datan and Aviram. Shimon, they came up to the scene when Moshe killed when they were discussing the problem that you said in the shiur. So the last parasha, I mean the one before the last, Vayeira, Moshe had a problem and have to flee because the Datan and Aviram were the one who did that. And now in this parasha, according to Midrash,
He split the sea for them again.
Right.
That's the question. Why did he split the sea for them? If they're such reshaim?
Yeah, that's the point. And what is the context? What we should learn pertaining to?
It's a good question. I asked it also. It's a good question.
So, both of them questions.
It's a good question. Baruch shekivanti for a question you can ask 2 years later.
Yeah, I'm then you know the question. Okay.
So, Datan and Aviram were reshaim. They were the two that were fighting, and Moshe tried to break up the fight between them. And they're the ones that said, when did you become a leader? And they went and told on him to Paro. And Paro tried killing Moshe. So they were also part of the people that did not want to leave Egypt. Not only they did not want to leave Egypt, they went and told Paro at the beginning of this parasha, Paro, look what you did. You let go of all the Jews. Now, you don't have any slaves to build a country. And Paro says, oh, look, I let go of my number one asset, all my slaves. Let's go catch them. Meaning the Datan and Aviram were the reason this parasha started the way it did, where it says that Paro sent out his people to go get Am Yisrael. But yet the Midrash says that later on you're going to read about the Datan and Aviram again. Where? You're going to read about the Datan and Aviram, Parashat Korach. Parashat Korach, the Datan and Aviram were still alive. How did we go from here, Reshaim and Rushaim with Paro, to they're still alive with Korach? How did they survive? So the Midrash says that after they told Paro what they told him, Paro got all of the soldiers to come and go after Am Yisrael. Hashem drowned all Paro and his people. Only Paro survived, but all of his people died. All of the animals died. And the Datan and Aviram watched the whole thing. And then they said, okay, I guess God is with Moshe, let's go. And the Midrash in Me'am Loeh says, Hashem split the ocean for them. Meaning he split the ocean for all of Am Yisrael in 12 places. 12 splits. Everyone passed. Hashem closed the ocean. The Datan and Aviram decides, okay, we're going to go join Am Yisrael. Hashem splits the ocean again. For them, Reshaim. Wicked. He splits the ocean again for them to go. So we learn more about them later on, and they do again another crime. They go against Moshe Rabbeinu with Korach. Oh. So the question is, how they survived, we just found out. Hashem split the ocean for them, and they joined Am Yisrael. The question we have, the sugya that we have here, is why did Hashem split the ocean for them? Why did he split the Reshaim? They're wicked. It's like Hashem splitting the ocean for this Akiva guy that wants Eshet Ish. Why is he going to split the ocean for them? So the answer is Hashem values those that protect his children. And before the Datan and Aviram joined Paro, before this whole story began, Paro made them officers over their own people. He made them officers over their own people, and every time there was a new law or a new thing coming out, he told the Egyptians to tell the Datan and Aviram to go enforce the law. And many times he told them, if your people don't do it, we're going to kill them. And many times the Datan and Aviram took the blame. They said, no, they didn't know. We didn't tell them. Why didn't you tell them? We thought it was too hard. And they took the blame and they took the beating. They took the beating for the entire nation. Meaning not just them, there was others. But nonetheless, there were two other people that took the beating for the people. And Hashem says, for that little bit of mesirut nefesh, look how many chances I gave you to do tshuva. That's how valuable the mesirut nefesh is. When you actually sacrifice yourself, it has a huge value in Shemayim. But it also ends at some point. So he split the ocean for them because even though they were wicked, they did some good. And Hashem wanted to pay them for it, cash. To give them an opportunity to do tshuva. But even then, they continued on their ways. They never did tshuva. And eventually they were destroyed. And they're screaming in the hole in Gehinom with Korach right now to this day. Next question. Good question.
Although I've mentioned the use of the word by
Yeah.
every time it comes, according in the Torah, it precedes something bad.
Okay.
That's going to happen. It says that I mean, explains that in my specific life. Now, and there also, what about that word that when, according also to Chachamim, when there are other words that come together with it, then it doesn't necessarily mean that something bad is going to happen, as they gave examples of many other good opportunities that followed this term when it was together with something else.
I mean, there's many rules to the Torah. It's not necessarily always, it doesn't contradict each other. It could be this, when they say that there's 70 faces to the Torah, it means that there's, unlimited, there's not 70 understandings. There's literally an unlimited amount of understandings for every single aspect of the Torah, for every single letter of the Torah. If you guys remember, I told you that Rabbi Ephraim has 1,000 different mitzvot and halachot that we can learn just from the word Bereshit. Bereshit. Just the word Bereshit. Bereshit bara Elokim et Hashem et haaretz, the beginning of the Torah. The first word in the entire Torah. Rabbi Ephraim in his younger age, not that he's so old now, but nonetheless, when he had he looked into it for a long time, and he accumulated 1,000 different halachot that you can learn just from the word Bereshit. So, even though we can learn that the Chachamim say that the word Vayehi means that it's something sad, it doesn't always necessarily, that's not the only meaning. Like I said also, another meaning is that the sadness wasn't for Am Yisrael, the sadness was actually Paro. Doesn't mean that just because Am Yisrael was sad here, that Paro wasn't sad. Paro was also sad. Meaning, you build on it. It's like you're building a tower. And each new understanding, each new commentary, as long as it doesn't negate the one previous to it, it's a chidush that you add on it. There's more, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. And that's why the Torah, it's proof that the Torah is divine, because it doesn't matter how many times you read the Torah, there's always going to be something new. To such an extent that you should know that the Sfarim HaKadoshim say that every single Jew, every neshama, there's 600,000 neshamot that were in Mount Sinai. Every single one of those neshamot has chidushim, has new insights from the Torah that only belong to them. Meaning, no one in the world could ever get them, other than that soul. It doesn't matter if it's Rav Ovadia, Rabbi Yashiv, Rabbi Akiva, Moshe Rab, it doesn't make a difference. No one in the world can get this specific new insight other than that neshama. Which means that if they learn Torah, they're bringing something new to the world that only they can bring. If they don't, that's why there's such a chumrah on it. That's why there's such a punishment on it. Why? Because of you, we're missing part of the Torah. You didn't learn, you didn't get to the chidush. You didn't get to the chidush, Torah is incomplete without you. Torah is incomplete without you. There was a new understanding you were supposed to get. When? After you studied 40 hours. After you studied 400 hours. After you studied for whatever. Whatever is decreed in Shamayim. There's a chidush waiting for you. In this parasha. In the next parasha. In this verse. In the next verse. And so on and so forth. And that's why chidushim is it's definitely something that you get as you continue learning. But you also have to be very, very careful. You have to be careful to make sure that you realize where you stand. You're not Rashi. So, when we're talking about Kavod Torah, when we're talking about Yirat Shamayim, when we're talking about Mesirut Nefesh, all of those things still apply even to your learning, even more so to your learning. Meaning that if you want to get to be a Talmid Chacham, you want to learn Torah, just know, Talmid Chacham doesn't exist without Mesirut Nefesh. If every time you learn, you're going to sit with 5 cakes, 3 coffees, a Twizzler, some candy, and and the couch that reclines automatically, if that's how you're going to learn Torah, you're not going to get any chidushim. And any chidushim that you're going to get is probably going to be from Sitra Achra, not from Hashem. So, learning Torah to a point where you get chidushim requires mesirut nefesh. When we get to the end of the Musar Pirkei Avot series, the last Mishnah, I believe, in chapter 6, says that there's 48 conditions that one must have in order to inherit Torah, in order to get Torah, to become a Talmid Chacham. 48 different things. And you realize that all 48 of these things are desires that we have. Whether it be sex, money, sleep, food, and so on and so forth. All the things we want, you want to get Torah, lower them. Less of the material, more of the spiritual. Less material, more of spiritual. So there are chidushim waiting for each and every single one of us, but nonetheless, there are dues to be paid in order for you to get them. It's not just for anyone. Just because you learn Parashat Shavua doesn't mean you're going to get a chidush. So that's one. Two, you have to realize that if you're going to get the chidush, you have to obviously have honor for the Torah. You have to have kavod for the Torah. So you have to mamash treat the Torah as mamash. This is a letter that was written to you specifically by God. If the President of the United States, Le'avdil, wrote you a letter, says, hey, Betzalel, I love you. You say, wow, Trump loves me? Psh, tabach shemo, is a yof, what a blessing Hashem sent me. But Trump loves me. If the Rambam, Le'avdil, Rambam writes you a letter from the past, he sends you a letter, it traveled 800 years, 900 years, arrived to you, it says, hey, Betzalel, I love you. It's, wow, amazing. He thought about me already. It's prophecy. 900 years ago, he thought about me. It arrived at my house. He even knew I was going to live. Wow. Moshe Rabbeinu writes you a little footnote. Rashi says, hey, Betzalel, by the way, if you're reading this now, Moshe said he loves you. It's amazing. Wow. The Torah, Sefer Torah says, hey, Betzalel, Hashem loves you. Hashem loves you. Hashem loves you. Hashem says he loves you. Every time you learn Torah, it's what Hashem says. He loves you. So, if you understand and you really believe what I'm saying to you, you're going to treat the Torah differently. And this leads you to the last point, which is having Yirat Shamayim. Understand that before you go out there and say, oh, I have a chidush, I have a new insight, you're going to double check. Why? Chas v'shalom, your chidush is wrong. Your chidush is wrong, you destroy worlds. The Gemara says, the Rabbi Meir Baal Haness says to his son was a scribe. He says, my son, know that you have to be very careful with your work, because if you make a mistake, you can build or destroy worlds. How? He's a scribe, he's just writing Sifrei Torah. If you change one letter in the Torah, you change the entire meaning. The word that could mean friend could turn into foe. The name of God can change to something else, to Avodah Zarah. Just, if you forget, there's 304,800 letters in the Torah. You miss one word, one letter, not one word, not one sentence, one letter. One tiny letter, you change the entire Torah. The entire Torah, the Sefer Torah that you wrote is pasul. When they write a Sefer Torah in Yerushalayim or in different parts of Israel, the holy people that write the Sefer Torah, aside from the preparation to write a Sefer Torah, go to the mikveh, be a ish ta'or, be a pure person, and so on, they have to bring the Sefer Torah to America or wherever they're sending it to. Now you'll see Sefer Torah, if a Chas v'Shalom, a Sefer Torah falls in a Bet Knesset, Chas v'Shalom, if it falls, the whole Kehillah has to fast. Everyone has to fast. Sefer Torah fell. But you'll see many times that when they take Sefer Torah, sometimes, not many times, sometimes you'll see that someone is carrying the Sefer Torah on the plane. Carrying the Sefer Torah on the plane. But sometimes they put the Sefer Torah in luggage. And they throw in luggage. And there's nothing wrong with it though. Why is there nothing wrong with it? They can put it in luggage. And they're throwing the luggage up and down and up and down and up and down and throw the luggage. No problem. Nothing wrong with it. It's not a sul. It's not a sul. It's not a sin. Why? Because there's at least one letter missing. They did not complete the Sefer Torah. There's at least one letter, sometimes more than one letter. Sometimes it's 10 letters, 20 letters. But usually there's, a few letters missing from the Sefer Torah. And even if there's one letter, one yud missing from a scroll with 304,805 letters, now is 304,804 letters. One missing letter, it's not a Sefer Torah. It's not a Sefer Torah. It's a scroll. Nothing holy about it. It's not even holy. That's the difference in one letter. And that's why you can throw it in the luggage. Don't try this at home. Point is, Rabotai, is that when Rabbi Meir Baal Haness told his son, be careful because you could destroy worlds by making a mistake in your job. He wasn't joking. You can mamash destroy worlds. You change one letter, it's a different Torah. People can learn from that Sefer Torah and not know their whole lives. 20 years they learn from a Sefer Torah. To learn after 20 years, they learn from a Sefer Pasul. Their entire Torah is worthless. Or if you have a Sefer Torah and you find out that the Sefer Torah was written by a goy. Sefer Torah written by a goy, it's a mitzvah to burn it. You're not allowed to use it. Some people think they're smart. They make computers write. Computers write on a scroll. It looks good. It's not kosher. Not allowed to use it. So all of these different things, you have to understand that the laws are there for a reason. When you have Yirat Shamayim, you understand these things. You take these into account. Whether you understand them or not is irrelevant. The point is you understand Yirat Shamayim. You understand that Hashem says you have to fear me. Why? I'm God. Remember what we said in the beginning. I'm God. Hashem says I'm God. Why he says I'm God? Because I'm God. I need you to know I'm God. I need you to know that whether you understand or agree with me is irrelevant. I'm God. Ani Hashem, he says. And he says it time and time again. Not that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know he's God. Not that even Bnei Israel didn't know he's God. He has to remind all of them, just like he has to remind us. Because once we realize that he's God, the whole picture changes. So, when you have those three key ingredients, a lot of things change. Your whole life changes. Your perspective of life changes. And your marriage changes. The way you raise kids changes. The way you conduct your business changes. The way you show up to the shiur changes. The way you learn changes. The way you eat changes. The way you go to the bathroom changes. I tell you one thing. These couple of students, Baruch Hashem, that converted last week, the ones that got married, they told me something amazing. They said, listen, we started learning all these different things about modesty. We realized that not only you have to be modest, you even have to be modest when you're getting dressed and you get out of the shower. You can't, it's not just being modest outside. You have to be modest inside. So now they asked me, is it okay that we get, after we go to the shower, we're covered with the robe, and then we get dressed in the closet. Is it okay? I said, perfect. Why? Least amount of people see you. Not people from the outside. Could be different things that are there that you don't see. You have to have modesty all the time. You can't just walk around with no shirt thinking that you're on a beach. That's Yirat Shamayim. So, when you learn all these different intricate laws, you realize there's no free lunch. No one's okay. Everyone's got to do tshuva. Everyone's got to do tshuva for something. Some people more than something. Some people start with one thing and then it's leads to another, Everybody can do tshuva though. If you're here, you can do tshuva. Even the Rasha that did the whole video on me, he can do tshuva also. Alvai, he'll do tshuva. Alvai, I don't want him to suffer. I want him to do tshuva. I'm saying it because it's not even the absurdity of what he did. The absurd part for me, it's more absurd that people agree with him. Not many, but there's a few that agree with him. That's how absurd. What he did, listen, Gemara in Masechet Yomah, page 119, says a person can't see wrong in himself. Can't see wrong in himself. He can look in a mirror and still see something wrong in everyone else. He's looking in the mirror, but he sees the flaws of everyone else. He's ugly, she's ugly, he's this, he only sees everything wrong with everyone else. So the fact that he doesn't see anything wrong with his actions only means that he's human. He's human. He doesn't see anything wrong with himself. That part is not surprising. What's surprising? The surprising part is there are fools that are watching this and are agreeing with it. They're agreeing that he's right. They're completely ignoring the fact that he just tried to break up a marriage. Oh, he almost did. Whether he tried or not is irrelevant. You were talking to a married woman in an inappropriate way. Nothing good comes out of it. And as people are like, no, he was too tough on you. He could have said it nicer. What do you want me to say? Hey, listen, Tzaddik, why don't you leave this poor woman alone? I'll get you a shiduch. I'll set you up with a shiduch. I'll stop the kiruv and I'll go find you a shiduch. This is actually what he said to me. He said, listen, you know I was single. Why don't you find me a shidduch? Everyone for some reason thinks that once you become a rabbi, you're like a government employee. Like you're there, the government pays you for all your time and you have unlimited time, unlimited resource, and you owe everybody something. One person says, once you find me a shidduch, Another person tells me, why don't you raise money for this other organization? Another one says, why don't you come over here? Okay, can you pay for the flight at least? No. Can you just come? Somebody else donate? One place told me, listen, we want to have a Shabbaton. I said, okay, no problem. You have to pay for the ticket, pay for this, a few things. I don't take money for myself, but there's a few things you have to pay for. What did they tell me? I said, listen, can you find a sponsor for us? I said, wait, you want me to find somebody else to pay for your Shabbaton? You want a whole lecture series for the weekend, which people pay, Keilot pay tens of thousands of dollars for. You're not even paying that much, but you don't even want to pay that. You want me to go find somebody else to pay for your Shabbaton. This is the warped mindset of what we have today, Rabotai. Are you surprised that I'm telling you we're not okay? It's not that we're not okay because of them. We're not okay because of us. It's not them, obviously. It's not a chidush. We're not okay because of us. We're not that far away. Distance between us is not that far away. So, obviously a lot of tshuva. A lot of tshuva is necessary. Anything else pertinent? Yeah?
I'd say that a Jewish merchant, like,
תביא לי את השתייה הזאת.
becomes like he owns a Judaica, and he has not so knowledgeable about Sefer Torah, what's considered Sefer Torah or not. He just thinks that he has a merchandise here that's not in the most perfect condition, and a guy wants to buy it from him, and it happens to be a Sefer Torah, supposedly. Some damage. He sells it to him. What could happen as a result of that, either to the goy or him?
Selling a Sefer Torah to a goy? Why?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of goyim flashing their Sefer Torah on Facebook. I wonder if those things are legit.
I mean, listen, there are some goyim that learn how to write Hebrew. And not only learn how to write Hebrew, they learn calligraphy and different skills of writing that are required to write a Sefer Torah. And they write their own Sefer Torah and they sell it. So there are many Sifrei Torah, unfortunately, that are amongst the goyim because goyim wrote them. Goyim wrote them. Doesn't mean that a Jew wrote it and they bought it. It just means that most likely a goy wrote it, or perhaps a machine made it. There's some people that have a machine. I know there's a machine that was made in, I believe it's London, or one of these countries over there, in that part of the world, that was mamash writing Sifrei Torah better than most scribes. Beautiful, beautiful job. It's just not kosher. And there's also people that, in the non-religious world, that they do have the skill set. They have the artistic skill of how to write, and they do it. They like it. There's many people, for example, there are people that value the history but not the religion. So, for example, there is a very famous Zionist named Moshe Dayan. Moshe Dayan was one of the superheroes of modern Israel. That was a army commander and later on in the government and so on and so forth. He was like a war hero. And Moshe Dayan grew up in a secular house. He himself was completely secular. Didn't keep Shabbat, didn't keep nothing. But he had a collection of different types of Judaica, different types of biblical artifacts and fossils and so on, worth millions. Millions of dollars. Millions and millions of dollars. He would actually use his power as a commander and so on to take some of his soldiers to go excavate different parts of Yerushalayim and different parts of Eretz Israel to find new stuff. Because he appreciated the history, he appreciated the beauty of it, but as far as Hashem, he was completely disconnected. So there are many people that appreciate the beauty of Judaica, they just don't know the significance of it. There are many people that appreciate, the praying. They just don't think you're praying to God. So they go to Beit Knesset, but they talk business too. There are many people that appreciate the Torah, but they use it as intellectually stimulating, not actually because of Hashem itself. And that we learned actually a few months ago in one of the Avot, one of the worst sins that a person can make when he's learning Torah is use Torah as an intellectual endeavor. Of course, that's also something you get. Of course, the Torah is mentally stimulating. But if you're learning Torah purely for the mental stimulation of it, you're no different than the biggest kufrim in the world. And the reason why is because Torah without Yirat Shamayim is not Torah. Torah without Yirat Shamayim is Erev Rav. That's what the Erev Rav do. They know Torah. Not all Erev Rav are Esav, Nazis. Many of them are rabbis that know Torah. The difference is they look at it as a mentally stimulating or a subject that's up for debate, and they start becoming commentaries. And that's why there's several different modern Orthodox rabbis and conservative and reform, mostly modern Orthodox rabbis, or they call themselves modern Orthodox, that are more problematic than the worst reforms. The reason why, with a reform rabbi or a conservative rabbi, you know what you're dealing with. They don't pretend. The reform guy, he's not pretending to be Orthodox. The conservative, he's not pretending to be Orthodox. It's the fake modern Orthodox mentality that pretends to be religious. That tell you, no, you're allowed to have mixed wedding. Look, you could use this as a source. What's the source? Look, Rabbi so-and-so went to a mixed wedding and he didn't say anything. So if he went, then it must be okay. That's their proofs. Their proofs is other people's sins or other people's mistakes or other people. They don't have proofs from the books. And even the proofs they use from the books are wrong. It's just their own understanding of it, not the Rambam or Rashi or the rest of the sages. So Torah without Yirat Shamayim is just purely an intellectual endeavor for these people. And unfortunately for that, that's a serious, serious violation. So the people that own these different Judaica stores, from my experience, many of them are not religious. Not all of them, but many of them are not religious. Which means that for them, it's just a business. And it's very strange to me that many people that own kosher supermarkets and Judaica stores are not even Shomrei Shabbat. It's very strange to me. But it shows that obviously they understand that there is a value of this Torah to some people, but to them it's meaningless. For that, it's an extra punishment, nonetheless. It's an extra chutzpah. But the point is that hopefully they do tshuva. Next.
What did the book say? You said everyone needs to do tshuva.
Yeah.
From the rabbi to the convert to the Baal Shuvah. What did the book say as they step it up about tests or challenges coming? Are they going to be greater? Yes.
So the test that you get is based on what you can handle. So one of the things that Hashem promises us is that He's never going to give us a test that we can't handle. He's never going to give us a test that we can't handle. Which means that whatever you're getting today, you can handle. You can handle. So when Am Yisrael saw the Sea of Reeds, and they saw that there is a ocean in front of them, Egyptians behind them, scorpions and snakes on both sides, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Moshe Rabbeinu starts crying to Hashem, and Hashem says, Mati tzak elai, what are you screaming to me for? What do you mean? Who do you want me to scream to? Who do you want me to scream to? Paro? To the ocean? What do you want me to scream to? He says, Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yisau. Speak to the children of Israel and let them move forward. Move forward. What does it mean, move forward? Do something to earn the merit. Do something to get that extra bonus to move to the next level. Which means that Hashem gives you tests, and for you to get to the next level of reward and so on, you have to pass the test. Just screaming to Hashem by itself is not always going to work. Sometimes it does, but sometimes you need to do something. Sometimes you have to do something. So I had a chidush, Baruch Hashem, that you'll see from all of the plagues and all of the whole story of the Exodus. From the moment Moshe Rabbeinu speaks to Hashem for the first time, and Hashem shows him the muftim, the different magic and miracles that he has with the snake and the stick and so on, all the way through all of this, you see a common denominator. When Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu what do you have in your hand? He says, I have a stick. He says, throw the stick on the floor. He throws the stick on the floor and turns into a snake. And he says, grab the snake by the tail and it'll turn back to a stick. Now, I don't know if you guys ever spent time watching Discovery Channel, but I did. And everyone knows the last thing you're supposed to do with a snake is grab him by the tail. You might as well grab him by the mouth, because that's what's going to happen. He's going to bite you immediately. The last thing you do is grab a snake by the tail. He's guaranteed going to bite you. Guaranteed. If you want to catch a snake, how do you catch a snake? You grab him by the head, the back of the head. You don't grab him by the tail. I don't catch snakes, by the way. It's on the side. So, why is Hashem telling him? Why is Hashem telling him? Grab him by the tail. It's a good question. You ever asked the question? I asked this question on Shabbat.
Yes.
So now the next question is, every time Hashem sends Moshe Rabbeinu in front of Paro, he says, tell Paro, water is going to turn to blood. Water do? Tell Paro, frogs in a cup. Tell Paro this, tell Paro this, tell Paro this, tell Paro that. The Sabbamin of Valduk says one of the biggest miracles that in the whole story is that Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't killed by Paro. Why? Every time you're coming, you tell him, listen, God's going to do this, God's going to do this. If Paro logically should think, okay, you know what, let me just kill this Moshe and his brother, and maybe it's going to end the whole thing. The fact that he didn't kill him, that by itself is a miracle. Question is, why did Hashem keep sending Moshe to do it? Why didn't he just say, listen, Paro's not going to listen anyway. Let me just throw the blood. Let me just throw a frog there. Let me just throw a dinosaur there. Let me just throw an alligator there. Let me just throw the lions there. Let me just do all these things anyway. Why even bothering asking him? Why even bothering telling him? Why bother? Why send Moshe there? The chidush I had, Rabotai, is that it all has the same foundation. The same exact reason of why we went all the way to Yam Suf. All the way to Yam Suf. When we get to Yam Suf, we get to the Sea of Reeds, we all start crying. Moshe Rabbeinu cries to Hashem. Hashem says to Moshe, Mati tzakela, what are you screaming for? What are you screaming to me for? Go tell Bnei Israel, move forward. What does it mean, move forward? What does it mean, move forward? You have to do something to show me you believe. Not just tell me you believe. Show me you believe. I want to see your emunah, not just hear about it in the books. Not just hear about it in speeches. Very nice speech, chazaku ba'uch, but do you really believe what you just said, or you're full of it, like most people? A lot of people say a lot of things, but do you do it? So Hashem gave Moshe a test that he can handle, even though Moshe didn't know he can handle it. First test is, grab the snake in a dangerous spot. Show me you believe that you're talking to me. Grab him by the tail. But it's dangerous, God. Exactly. That's why I told you to grab it by the tail, because it is dangerous if you don't believe me. If you believe in me, danger doesn't exist. If you believe in me, danger doesn't exist. If you don't believe in me, going in front of Paro 10 times is dangerous. Why? He's going to kill you. If you don't believe in me, you should be scared. If you believe in me, walk in there like a boss.
That's what he did to Abraham when he took Isaac.
That's the point is, walk in there, and when the lion comes to eat you, the lion, Paro, why did Paro get so scared when he first saw Moshe the first time? When he first saw Moshe, he got scared. Why are you scared? Moshe was in your house, you knew him for years. Why are you so scared? Because Paro had huge, giant lions guarding every single door. 2 lions in every door. No one can come in, no one can come out. So Moshe came in with all of the lions. Like they're all little puppies. They all turn into Moshe Rabbeinu's little puppies. All these little giant lions. Each one 2 tons. 2-ton lions the size of an elephant became his puppies. Paro said, how could this be? My vicious lions, they kill people for fun. They became puppies. How could it be? He says, because Hashem runs the world. Ani Hashem. Ani Hashem meaning God runs the world. God runs the world. if a person understands that God runs the world, he has nothing to be scared of. He's not scared of the boss. He's not scared of the government. He's not. But logically, not for no reason, you start becoming a criminal in the name of God. Don't start becoming a criminal in the name of God. Don't become a fool.
Become an ISIS.
I'm saying, become ISIS in the name of God. So, point is that when a person understands that Hashem runs the world, he's not afraid of exercising the Torah and fulfilling the Torah and what it is.
Yeah.
So all of the dangers that Hashem put Moshe Rabbeinu individually and Am Yisrael as a nation was all for the sake of show me you believe. Don't just tell me you believe. Show me. Show me your emunah. A lot of people say I believe in God. I believe. Have emunah. There's a lot of posters that say emunah. There's books that say emunah. There's rabbis that say emunah. First test they have, they fail miserably. The minute they have one test that looks a little off, they fail miserably. All of a sudden, the guy becomes a kofel. One test, you become a heretic. What happened? Where's the emunah? As soon as you didn't have money, all of a sudden, God's not real. What happened? Hashem gives you tests. So the point is that the tests are what you can handle. But that also means that just like when you work out and you lift weights, after a while, the weights that you lifted in the beginning are not going to be enough. You lift 10 pounds 10 times. Good. After you do it 1,000 times, the 10 pounds are not affecting you anymore. You need to now lift 15 pounds. And then 20. And then 30. And then 40. Same thing with the test. The test of you when you were 15 would be insufficient than for you today at 30, 40, 50, or 60 years old. Why? You were 15 years old. Your biggest test in life was, what shirt you're going to wear. Today, you don't think about things like this. You're an adult. You understand? So the tests change. The test in the beginning is, do I have a kid? Today is, do I open another business? It's two different things. Test in the past was, where should we have a wedding? In this hall or that hall? Today you don't care about not this hall or that hall. You just care about having breakfast. Different tests. The point is that the tests change throughout life. But you should always know that the same principle applies to all of them. Hashem does not give you tests for no reason, and He does not give you tests that you can't pass. So, mati tzak elai. Why are you screaming to Him? He's giving you a test. The teacher is quiet when the kids are taking a test.
Yes.
The teacher is quiet when the kids are taking a test. He's not telling them the answers. What else? Go ahead.
So, recently at a meeting with some people, this guy is like 7 years old. So, one of his kids became gay, Jewish guy, filthy rich. Second one married a Christian, and third one thinks is some different gender.
Oh, you think he's a woman?
Yeah, I don't. They're from California, so mentally,
Okay, so they're all sick.
So, anyways,
Starting with the father. No.
so the
So what's-
father.
what's
So
the
his
question?
mom died. I said, so you saying Kaddish? The deal was done. I said, say it. So I said, what are you Jewish? He said, yeah, I'm Jewish, this and that. He said, oh, okay. Then your mom, do you say Kaddish? He said, no, I don't do nothing. He said, well, my mom was around with the candles and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I said, nothing, absolutely nothing. He said, I want to start, but I don't know where to start.
Okay.
They're in Miami now.
Okay.
So,
Where to start?
where to get him in? Because if I bring him to one of these lectures, he's going to have a heart attack. It's
Good,
not
bring him to
exactly,
lecture.
73 years old, come on.
Well, come on.
No, I mean...
You want him to die without tshuva?
No, I understand
The only
that.
way he does tshuva is if he comes to one of these lectures. He's not going to do tshuva in any other
I
way.
get it, but he needs to read up. The guy knows zero.
Good. Tell him to come to the lecture. I'll learn. 2 hours worth of Torah. At least he'd come to Shemaim. If he dies the next day, he says, listen, I learned 2 hours of Torah, real Torah. I'm serious. I'm not joking. Why? It's not.
I mean,
Listen,
I
you have
thought
to-
maybe you gotta start him with some kind of go easy, no? And I can't just throw everything to his
Okay,
face.
so let me show you that the proof is right.
No,
I'll show
I
you.
believe you.
No,
I
I'll show
know
you
the proof is right.
No, I'll show you
Okay,
proof is
okay.
right. Now, 5 books of Moses. How many versions of it do we have? How many versions of the 5 books of Moses do we have? One. Why do we? What if we teach the 5 books of Moses to a 5-year-old child, or we teach the 5 books of Moses to a 50-year-old man? It's the same 5 books of Moses. How can we teach them both in the same thing? Because Hashem says it applies to both. You have to teach both of them the same thing. There's no kids version, adult version. There's no such thing in the Torah. There's no kid version, adult version. There's no new guy, old guy. Everyone learns the same Torah, meaning that Hashem gave us a Torah that's applicable to all. Whether you're a beginner at 70 or you're a beginner at 5, everyone has a Torah. And B'ezrat Hashem, not necessarily everyone is going to understand the same thing. Meaning, I could talk for 2 hours. You'll understand 50% of it. He may understand 5% of it. But at least the 5% is what he can take home and use and apply to his life. The point is, there's no different versions of Torah. It's all the same Torah as long as it's honest. As long as it's honest Torah. If it's fake Torah and you want to take him to one of these shuls that has Care Bear rabbis, they're going to tell him that he's a tzaddik. All he's going to do is come out of the shul thinking that everything is okay, everything is right. He's going to donate $50,000 to the Beit Knesset, and he's going to think that he's okay. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to welcome him in Gehinom and say, "Baruch haba, Baruch haba." You have a permanent home here. You have no hope whatsoever. But at least if he comes to shul Torah, he realizes that he did something wrong. Even if it's 5 minutes, he understands the truth of Torah for 5 minutes out of 3 hours. He understands 5 minutes, but the 5 minutes change his heart a little bit. He says, "You know what? Alvai, I would have learned more. You know what? Alvai, I would have taught my 5 minutes of tshuva can already take him out of the 7th gate of Gehinom and put him somewhere else. The 5 minutes. So only real 5 minutes. 5 minutes of Care Bear is not going to help him. 5 minutes Care Bear is going to get his
thought, since he knows nothing.
I didn't know nothing either. I know nothing either. I know nothing either. I come to the lecture, I know nothing. I leave the lecture, I know something. What do you think? Everybody knows something? Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything. Everybody needs to learn. Before we did the shiur, nobody knew anything. After the shiur, hopefully people know something. The point is that you need to have Torah that's going to touch people's hearts. That's the most important part. You have to have Torah that's going to teach people that they have to change, they have to improve, that Hashem is not joking, and it doesn't matter what age they are. If he is one of these people that's already 70 and already old, and he gave up on himself, and he said, "Listen, I agree, but I can't do it. I'm already too old. I'm already accustomed to my way." You know what? He could still save himself. How? Hopefully he could influence his kids. Hopefully he could do something with whatever money that he has to influence others. There's a lot of good that can come out of it that could potentially save him. But to take him in any junior version of Torah, it's just fake Torah. There's no junior version. There's real Torah and there's fake Torah. The real Torah can save him. Fake Torah is just going to guarantee him that he was better off just staying the same as he is. There's plenty of that. So bring him. And listen, the worst case scenario is that he walks out. Nothing, it's not a...
the deal is done, doesn't matter.
At least he heard some Torah, and at that point, hopefully it gets him to reconsider his position, reconsider himself. Listen, people have done tshuva at all ages. People have done tshuva at all situations. I always tell people that the biggest reason why I share my personal life with people is not because I like people to know my business, but I just want to encourage people to know, if I can do tshuva from where I came from, anyone can do tshuva. I had more excuses than everyone. I had more reasons than everyone. Whether you have money reasons, I had money reasons. You hated the life that you had because you felt like you had a bad hand. I felt like I had a bad hand. You felt God hated you. I felt God hated me. You married someone that you thought is this and you thought is that. I did the same thing. All the excuses that you can possibly, I had them. If I can do tshuva, you can do tshuva. That's just a reality. So the point is that when you go up to Shamayim, they're going to show you people that had much more difficult time doing tshuva than you. And when you're going to tell them, "Listen, I didn't do tshuva," they're going to say, "Why did you do tshuva?" "Oh, I was, money got in the way. I was really rich. I had a lot of businesses. I had a lot of real estate. I had a lot of cars. I had a lot of houses. It kept me really busy." "Oh, really?" They're going to bring you Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar owned cities. Mamash, you owned cities and ships. So you had more than him? You had ships and cities? What do you have? A neighborhood? Big deal. Big deal. He had cities, cities. You were richer than him, you didn't richer than him, and he was still one of the Tanaim. He's still one of the Tanaim, even though you had cities. "Oh, I was really good looking. The girls wanted me. They're going to bring you Yosef Tzaddik. You better looking than him? Look at him. He's so beautiful, he's shining like a diamond. He's shining like a diamond, flawless diamond. He didn't make a sin with the most beautiful woman in the world. Potiphar's wife was not some goat-looking person. She was one of the 4 most beautiful women in the world. She didn't have a goatee. She was beautiful. But he didn't sin with her. He was beautiful, she was beautiful, no sin. No sin. Muhammad says, almost, but no. Almost, but no. Why? Hashem. You don't have an excuse. They're going to say, yeah, but I was brought up secular. They're going to bring you Rabbi Akiva. You brought up more secular than him? You brought up more secular than him? What'd you bring? You have no excuses. No excuses. So that's the thing. So Resh Lakish was the top criminal. Became one of the Tanaim. Oh no, I was not Jewish. They're going to bring you Onkelos. They're going to bring you Onkelos. Was supposed to be the next Caesar. So you had a better, more difficult position than him? No excuses, Rabotai. They're going to bring you all of these people to remind you they have no excuse. Zero excuse. So, this...
Have an Audi and a Lexus on the street?
Not mine. What is this? We're finishing now. So, this, Rabotai, should give us a serious reminder that everyone must do tshuva. Everyone must do tshuva from birth, Baal tshuva, for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. Big rabbi, small rabbi, medium rabbi, this rabbi, that rabbi. It doesn't make a difference. Everyone must do tshuva. Jews, non-Jews, presidents, servants, slaves, dogs. Everyone has to do tshuva. Everyone has to do tshuva. If you're alive, you can do it. If you're not, then you're probably not watching this lecture. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen ve'amen.